All right, let's dive into a book that's been a secret weapon for successful people for decades, The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. Now, Bristol was this really down-to-earth journalist, and he spent years, trying to figure out if there was some common denominator for success. He was convinced he found it. So what was this huge secret? This is the exact question that got Bristol started. He'd look around and see certain people just winning at life, achieving these incredible things, while other folks who seemed to be working just as hard were just stuck. He felt like there had to be something else going on, some hidden force that was tipping the scales. And here it is, the big reveal. That golden thread, Bristol says, is just one single word: belief. But he's not talking about just wishing for something or kind of hoping it happens. No, he's talking about a deep, unshakable conviction that actually becomes a creative power. And that's the core idea we're going to unpack today. Okay, so how does belief actually work? Well, according to Bristol, it all starts with the most basic tool that every single one of us has: our own thoughts. He argues that our minds are way, way more powerful than we give them credit for. I mean, this idea is so simple, but it's also incredibly profound when you really think about it. The device you're watching this on, the chair you're sitting in, the building you're in right now, none of it would exist if it hadn't started as just an idea in someone's head. For Bristol, this kind of creative thinking is literally where all wealth and success comes from. To make this a little less abstract, Bristol gives us this fantastic analogy. He says to think of your mind as like a patch of fertile soil. A random, passing thought is like a seed just tossed onto the pavement. Nothing's going to happen. But a focused, powerful thought, a belief, that's a seed you've deliberately planted. And when you keep watering it with your focus, it just has to grow. And this brings us to a really crucial point. You have to be specific. Just saying, "I want to be successful," is way too vague. It's like getting in a taxi and telling the driver, "Oh, just drive." You're not going to end up anywhere you want to be. Bristol says you have to create a sharp, crystal clear mental picture of exactly what you want. If you don't, you're just that cork on the water, getting pushed around by whatever current comes along. So, if your conscious mind is the architect who draws up the blueprints for your goal, who's the construction crew that actually gets to work and builds the thing? Well, for Bristol, that's your silent partner, your subconscious mind. We all have this part of our mind, humming along 24/7, just beneath the surface. It doesn't judge or argue with you. It just takes the ideas and beliefs you feed it and starts making them happen. This, Bristol says, is where our real, raw power comes from. Bristol basically breaks down its job description into three main things. First, it handles all the automatic stuff, like keeping your body running. Second, it takes over in a crisis. That split second when you slam on the brakes in your car, that's your subconscious. And third, and this is the big one for us, you can actually give it a specific job to do, to solve a problem or achieve a goal. So, how do you put in an order with this mental powerhouse? Bristol gives us a very clear recipe. First, you have to be sure you really want the goal. Then you have to believe in it with absolute faith. And this next one is key. You have to see your goal not as something you're going to get, but as something you already have. And finally, when you get that gut feeling or a sudden idea pops into your head, you have to act on it right away. Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But what do you actually do? Well, Bristol doesn't leave us hanging. He gives us two super practical, actionable techniques to really drive those goals deep into your subconscious. The secret sauce behind both of these techniques is simple: repetition. See, a single thought can just fade away, but when you repeat it over and over and over again, it's like hammering a nail. Each repetition drives it deeper and deeper into your subconscious until it becomes a solid, firm conviction. Bristol's first tool is called the card technique, and it's so simple. You just write down your goal in detail on a few cards. Then you put them everywhere you'll see them: your desk, your bathroom mirror, in your wallet. Every time you see a card, you stop for a second and just feel what it's like to have already achieved it. And his last step is really important. Keep it to yourself. He believed that talking about it scatters the energy you're trying to build. The second technique is even more direct. It's the mirror technique. You actually stand in front of a mirror, look yourself right in the eye, and you state your goal out loud with total passion and conviction. Apparently, huge historical figures like Winston Churchill use this exact method to build up their confidence before big moments. Now, before you go trying these techniques, Bristol has a really serious warning for us. This power, it's completely neutral. It doesn't care if you're a good person or a bad person. It's a tool. And like any powerful tool, it can be used to build things up or to tear them down. He calls this the boomerang effect. Basically, your mind's power doesn't care if your belief is positive or negative. If you have a strong belief in success, you'll start attracting opportunities for success. But if you have a strong belief in failure or a deep-seated fear, that belief is just as creative. It will literally start attracting the very things you're afraid of. And Bristol could not be more direct about this. He basically says, look, if you try to use this mental power to hurt other people, it is going to come back and destroy you. It's a very serious warning that this is a force you have to use with respect and with good intentions. And now we get to what is maybe the most important rule of this whole system. You can't just sit on your couch, visualize $1 million, and expect it to show up at your door. Belief is the engine, but you still have to drive the car. It'll open doors for you, give you those gut feelings, but you have to be the one to get up and walk through those doors. As it says right here, belief without action, that's just daydreaming. So, there you have it. That's Claude Bristol's framework for tapping into the power of your own mind. He argues that these tools aren't just for a select few, they're available to every single one of us. So the only question left really is a personal one. What are you going to choose to believe into existence?